It's getting creepy with your boy Fat Joe. It's getting creepy. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Y'all already know how it looks, so I'm not turning this light on. It is a summertime in LA, and I don't want to know how that's out of my face. But y'all know how I look. What's up, everybody? No light today, but we here for you. It's getting creepy out here, man. The attorney that Fat Joe posts a cryptic message on IG, and now the attorney that's suing him is in some kind of a rigmarole. We about to break this whole thing down. I got a text message, a message yesterday, a warning. Salute to Odell Wolfgang, Set in the West. That's his channel. And he sent me a good, fair warning that, it looks like the Rock Nation president, Desi Perez, he's been talking about that whole situation with her daughter. Now he's getting strikes on his channel on Set in the West. And so some weird shit going on with Rock Nation right now. As we know, Fat Joe is works for Rock Nation. And it seems as if people coming after Rock Nation are, being targeted. And of course, I don't want to be targeted. It's not about that, but it is about reporting the news because, us regular citizens, we just want to live, man. We just want to live and report. Those of us on YouTube, people on YouTube, they want to, tell the news as what it is without the BS. Of course, you ain't gonna lie on nobody, but some weird shit going on. So I want to sit here and talk about it. I most definitely want to talk about it. And I hate the goddamn text messages out of nowhere. Oh, rest in peace to Bill Moyers, the journalist. And it's crazy we're having this topic on a day, like this, because Bill Moyers was a journalist that really told the real news, what went on behind. You can turn on Bill Moyers on KCET, on PBS, and get news that they're never going to tell you on mainstream media. So I guess it's apropos that, rest in peace, Jim Moyers. Bill Moyers, I'm sorry, I said Jim Moyers. Bill Moyers. Bill Moyers was most definitely somebody that told the news, sort of like how YouTube is today. Bill Moyers was to mainstream news what YouTube is to mainstream news today. Getting the deep stories behind the war, behind Vietnam, behind all that stuff. So rest in peace to the journalist Bill Moyers. But anyway, with that being said, welcome chat room. Quan, Cool, Keezy, Kamal, Ty, appreciate everybody in here for joining. Willie Mays. Make sure y'all hit the like button and share this video, okay? Make sure y'all share the video. So let's get into this creepy shit that's going on right here. I'm not going to be here all day. So let's get into it. A lawyer for Fat Joe's ex-hype man was arrested after allegedly trying to dodge an extortion suit. How this whole thing set up was TA, the former hype man for Fat Joe, sent out a request for payment for services rendered that Fat Joe didn't do. Fat Joe then returned with a defamation lawsuit. And so be very clear, Fat Joe was the first one in this whole back and forth to file a lawsuit. Fat Joe filed a lawsuit a few months ago, a defamation lawsuit, and now the attorney for TA filed a lawsuit against Fat Joe a couple of days ago. Fat Joe wrote a cryptic post, and now that lawyer is somehow arrested on some mysteriously, I guess, trying to hit. They say allegedly tried to hit someone serving him paperwork, but I don't know. So I want y'all to watch to follow along with me right here. This was something that Fat Joe put on his Twitter, on his Instagram yesterday. I've been tested the last few months, lost my big brother, my father, my mother, and now I am fighting against these disgusting lies. Please know I will not break and I'll never back down. Rest in peace to Fat Joe's brother, mother, and father. That I'd imagine that heartbeat that's very painful. So I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna dance on another man's pain. So rest in peace to his family or whatever. You know what I mean? Saying about taking that man's family down. Okay, but I'm just reading what he wrote. So let's keep going. Fat Joe writes, I've had individuals in my circle take my love and kindness for weakness. But how many times must we forgive them? I've had people steal from me, grow jealous of me, lie on me. Through it all, me and my family are the ones stuck dealing with the consequences for their bad decisions. That sounds a lot like what Big Pun's family had to deal with, if you ask me. I wasn't there, I don't know, but sounds to me a lot like what Big Pun's wife and mother had to deal with when he left, and the people that Big Pun's family thought was friends. I don't know. I just heard that from, Cuban Link said that on his Twitter. On his page, and people familiar with the situation. That's people around you, Fat Joe. I didn't say that. He says, if you get fired for doing something wrong, just take the L and live with it. But instead, they plot on your downfall as they watch you move on with your life. They decide to go after one of the things you value most, your reputation. I don't know how much of a reputation you have, brother, just based on all the lies you get caught saying almost every time you open your mouth. Based on that shit you said on Math Hoffa's show, I think Fat Joe's done a good enough job destroying his own reputation long before these allegations. But I digress. Continuing on, they figure they can make up the most insane stories, and if they threaten you with a lawsuit, then you'll pay, and they'll feel like they finally won. Problem with your theory, I've never let anyone on the streets extort me. So how would I ever let a crooked attorney and a coward ex-hype man extort me? I'm from the Bronx. Well, the streets and the courtrooms are two different things. And if being from the Bronx is a shield from you being protected, then little do I know about how life works. But anyway, Mr. Tyrone Blackburn, attorney at law, since you want the clout, we will finish you in court. The time of lawyers using their law license as a badge to extort people and destroy families with no evidence is over. I'm not the one. You've messed with the wrong one this time. That was from Fat Joe. Well, a few hours later, this happened. A few hours later, this happened. NBC News reports. An attorney representing rapper Fat Joe's former hype man was arrested Wednesday and accused of hitting a process server with his car in New York City. Attorney Tyrone Blackburn, 40 years old, was taken into custody Wednesday morning and booked on suspicion of assault, the New York police said. Blackburn did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The arrest is the latest in the back and forth between Fat Joe, whose real name is Joseph blah blah blah, and his former hype man Terrence T.A. Dixon and Dixon's lawyer Blackburn. According to Fat Joe's attorney, Joe Tacopina, it all started on March 23rd when Dixon and Blackburn sent the rapper a written demand letter seeking money for being a ghostwriter and uncredited vocalist on some of Fat Joe's songs. Fat Joe disregarded the demands, but on April 21st, Blackburn and Dixon sent a follow-up demand letter threatening to file a lawsuit not just for unpaid wages, but also for other allegations including rape, forced labor, sex trafficking, and fraud. All claims Tacopina called false and outrageous, and they were made with utter disregard for truth or decency. As a result, Fat Joe sued Dixon and Blackburn in April, alleging extortion, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. When the process server went to hand the paperwork to Blackburn, Blackburn hit him with his vehicle, Tacopina alleged. A warrant was issued for Blackburn's arrest Thursday. According to Tacopina, the same day Blackburn and Dixon filed a $20 million federal lawsuit in U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York. The lawsuit alleges that Fat Joe forced Dixon to engage in thousands of sex acts with women and that Dixon was underpaid, denied songwriting credits, and threatened. Blackburn's arrest comes as no surprise to me. It's just the latest example of his malicious and manipulative pattern of misconduct finally coming to light, Tacopina said. And so this is Fat Joe's attorney coming real hard for Blackburn. Blackburn is an embarrassment to the legal profession, and it's a disgrace watching him use the court system to shield his extortion tactics. So y'all notice how they're going after the attorney and they're not saying anything about what TA alleges. Basically, Blackburn, they say, also represented Diddy, his accuser, producer Little Rod. So what's happening here, this is weird. So basically what they're saying is happening here is, it says, according to Fat Joe's attorney, no, not that part. It says when the process server went to hand paperwork to Blackburn, Blackburn hit him with his vehicle. So it looks as if, and from my opinion, now this is my opinion, it looked like Blackburn was set up. Somebody come in, and then when you look at, they're saying the injuries were minor. So if we get this straight, Fat Joe was the first person to file official court documents. Gangsta Joe from the Bronx. From the Bronx, Gangsta Joe, Terror Squad. It looks as if he was the first person to file a lawsuit. So Fat Joe files a lawsuit and he gets a lawsuit in return. It looks like they're trying to defame. Fat Joe came out swinging, and his attorney. Fat Joe and his attorney came out swinging. They're coming out at the attorney. And now it looks as if they're using what, and for all intents and purposes, seems to be a misunderstanding between the attorney and the person filing the paperwork. They're blowing that up as if the attorney's some sort of terrorist. And I find that funny because, like I said, just yesterday, I got a text message from just a warning from the channel Set in the West about his channel getting striked because of what they're saying about the whole Desi Perez situation. And we know Fat Joe is tied to Rock Nation. Rock Nation is also tied in this lawsuit. What's going on here? Why is Mr. Gangster Tough Guy filing lawsuits? And why is the attorney ended up in this, what seems to be precarious situation? Yes, it is getting spooky out here. Kendall says, I'm sick of all these rappers and everyone associated with them. Right. Shit, me too. Salute Jesse Vargas. I'm getting sick because today, before this, today's topic was going to be on 90s hip hop and all the shit that's going on. I'm over here, as you know, I'm monitoring the Diddy situation. I'm monitoring that code. I haven't been paying too close attention to Diddy because I don't want to. And but it seems to me as if this whole is, and you know, y'all know me. I'm the one that called Diddy's lawsuit coming a month before it happened with these cards. But I'm not one as well for the little I am paying attention. It looked like, man, they ain't got nothing on man on him, man. It looked like they trying to force a lawsuit on Diddy. They just recently dropped some charges. So I'm not here to say Fat Joe is guilty. But according to the back and forth, TA says that Fat Joe was sleeping with underage girls, and the so-called underage girls at the time that they were underage, they're willing to testify. So this Fat Joe situation is getting real creepy, and it looks like it's going to continue to get creepy, especially when you're dealing with situations like this with the attorney basically getting knocked over, getting put behind bars. So I don't know what's going on. But as we look and see online what people say, the Terror Squad was once a formidable gang of New York that New Yorkers and people around the country were scared of. It also alleges in this lawsuit that Fat Joe tried to get 50 Cent and DMX knocked off. Go read the lawsuit. From what I've been hearing, from what I've been seeing, when I went, they're reporting that Fat Joe tried to get DMX and 50 Cent knocked off. I don't know. So maybe this is how Fat Joe matures. Maybe instead of getting people knocked off, maybe he's trying to get them arrested instead. I don't know. I wasn't there. But this is who people invited into hip hop. Let's just go down the line of things that makes Fat Joe a cautionary person to be around. He got the lawsuits. He lied and said hip hop was created 50-50 with Latinos. He lied and he did according to Big Pun's family, he did them wrong. He was stealing money. He lost a lawsuit to where he now had to hand over. According to Gangu Roach, he was basically giving Big Pun's family fake statements. He spent time in jail for tax evasion. I don't know. A lot of what this dude is accused and found guilty of, very creepy. So I don't know. Maybe he changed a new leaf. Maybe he changed the leaf. Maybe instead of doing the old terror squad tactics, now maybe he's allowing his attorneys. I don't know. But be careful out there, people. So yeah, they said DMX too. Yep. The lawyer is out of jail. He bailed out the same day. The lawyer's out. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But I do know is let's look in and if you're waiting on your report, those of you signed up for a report, I'm having a major system issue. You will get your reports as soon as my system is back up and working, and I will offer you. Well, you'll get an email with what you're being offered and being compensated for because I don't like bringing in shit. I don't like being late on my delivery times. If I tell you a certain time I'm gonna deliver, I like to over deliver in less time. But I'm having an issue out of my control. So if you ordered a report and you haven't gotten your reports back, bear with me. You will get your reports and you will get some extra on top of that. All right. But let's look into Fat Joe's report for the year. Fat Joe, what's going on in this dude's cars this year? He's 54. Oh, there we go. 6 of diamonds in Saturn. There we go. 6 of diamonds in Saturn. That's lawsuits in front of people. Uh-huh. Jack of clubs in Jupiter. That means he's lying like a motherfucker. I mean, Mars. I'm sorry, 6 of spades is in Jupiter. Jack of clubs in Mars, lying like a motherfucker. Oh yeah, if I was in Fat Joe's circle, I would tell him, man, you better get tight with the people who are tightest with you, cause they coming for you, brother. Unfortunately for Fat Joe, when you listen to people he talk about him, he screwed over a lot of people that was been cool with him, that have done him right. That's not about to play well for you, Fat Joe. A lot of people from Fat Joe's past, they're about to come for him. A lot of people from Fat Joe's. What I'm seeing in the cards is this lawsuit. This isn't the only thing from Fat Joe's past that he's going to have to deal with this year. So you better get your shit in order, homie. But Fat Joe, man, you notice the year started out with him going on Matt Hoffa's show and calling FBA a bunch of broke niggas. Remember that? Since then, Matt Hoffa lost his barbershop and his podcast. Hey, chat room, is Matt Hoffa's podcast back up? Chat. Is Matt Hoffa's podcast back up? Nope. But look what happened. Look at what happened. Oh yeah, Stardust called Fat Joe the Fat Joe Curse. Yeah, Fat Joe ain't doing. Math off is down. Fat Joe is down. People come on that. Black Americans as a whole bunch of broke niggas. All right. Hey, chat room. Who's more of a YN? Who's more of an immature YN? Well, I'm gonna call Jim Jones is a YN. Fat Joe is an imitation YN. I don't want to give Fat Joe the credit of being a YN because he ain't one of us. But who's more of an immature old YN, Fat Joe or Jim Jones? At least Fat Joe's name is kind of original. Jim Jones named himself after a fucking white dude that massacred a bunch of niggas. What's up with these old ass YNs? 90s hip hop is looking bad for y'all. You said Jim Jones is 0% FBI? Black McBain? I don't know. I gotta ask that question. Which one is more of a YN? Because Fat Joe's, they both be still bragging about their clothes on some dumb young nigga shit. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. I'm not going to be on here for long. Call in if you want to call in. 323-744-7425. 323-744-7425. What's up with these YNs? These old ass YNs. Oh my God, may I never become that immature. He said Jim Jones is a half tether. That's a good point, Spud McKenzie. The record labels never graduated those artists to A&R positions. So this is what we're getting. Yeah. Rondo says Fatty Crack is a YN of the Bronx variety. Jimmy is a YN of the Harlem variety. And yeah, Jim Jones got way too much sassy energy. And did you see Jim Jones over there, like, saying, trying to take credit, talking about, man, I've given Nas more clout than anything he's gotten lately. Man, Jim Jones, Nas is a grown ass man. He think he give a fuck about internet clout? He gets real clout when he throws concerts. People come out to actually see him in person by the tens of thousands. And Jim Jones over here trying to get credit for putting Nas in the algorithm when Nas don't need the fucking algorithm. All Nas got to do is what real artists do, Jim Jones, and that's put out dope music. King's Disease, The Magic Project. These things are what's making Nas, is what's putting Nas in the lexicon. His actual music. Benzino had a good response. Although I think the source was part of the downfall of hip hop, he still had a good response. This is over on Forgotten Kings TV. And yeah, I'm going to use y'all video. Y'all better not send me a strike. Because y'all used my tweet last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, when y'all called Scroncho. Forgotten Kings TV used my tweet, and then they went ahead and interviewed Scroncho based off my tweet. So I can use some of y'all video. But hold on one second, caller. Hold on one second.
I've seen you do this and Say Less.
Yo.
Well, I'll get some video of Benzino respond after this call.
Check this out, right?
Come on now, shit not stopping. Okay. Hold on, what shit not? There it is.
Yo.
All right, what's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Dewan B. This is Jacoby from Portland. How you doing?
Jacoby from Portland. What's on your mind?
Not much, man. Look, this is what happens when you take the blood oath, man. You can tell he took that blood oath. He didn't fulfill the mission like he was supposed to, in my opinion. So now he's useless. He's not making his records are not selling. He gave the new version of All the Way Up. I don't know what to tell that man. You thought it was funny when Bill Cosby was getting railroaded, and you started to interject yourself into that. You started shitting on FBAs, and you started to interject yourself into that. Then you try to hijack hip hop and rap, saying it was 50-50. Then you guys moved the goalpost and said we created it. You just kept digging yourself a hole in the foot. So now you got nowhere else to go to.
Right.
And the pendulum swings. Depends on what you do in your life. About the pendulum. If the pendulum swings positive, it's always more time be more positive. But if you're swinging the pendulum so negative because you don't have to face those consequences, the repercussions are so devastating that you don't know how to get yourself out of it. And that's where I see where he's at. That pendulum has come due. And the only thing what I would suggest is stay out the way. Don't just watch and learn. And let there be a lesson. Yeah, maybe he had a changed leaf, but that doesn't absolve you from the blood oath.
Right.
So I'll leave it as that.
That's real talk, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, he took. Hey, when you go that mainstream route, it's certain things that come with that. Well, this is something that Benzino had to say.
Like, check this out, right? So, enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. Don't y'all see what the fuck y'all doing? Like, y'all really don't get it, huh? Y'all really don't understand how much this fucking internet shit is fucking us up as a people. Y'all really playing like, and this is to the adults, right? Or the ones who think they adults. How the fuck are y'all allowing this, man? Like, the internet, right? Social media, right? I've watched it progressively ruin the fuck out of our culture. I've watched it allow people now to disrespect the fuck out of people and calling it trolling. I've watched it, a person just post a picture of something and then all of a sudden a bunch of people come on there and clown and disrespect them. It happens to me on a regular. Like, what the fuck is gonna happen to society?
Where you talking about Nas?
Doing stuff with the Marleys to just basically, Nas put in work. Cause irreparable damage to the see this fucking man. This man has himself and nobody's saying nothing about it. Y'all really like this shit? And now, right? Hip hop. Let's go to hip hop. This Jim Jones and Nas thing, right? I'm just gonna use this as an example, but y'all are taking part in like really ruining the legacy of this fucking man. This man has a whole fucking legacy. This Jim Jones Nas shit wasn't even a debate. Okay, it gets cute at first, but it's getting out of control. It's getting way too disrespectful, and it's gonna cause irreparable damage to the culture. And let me tell you why. Nas is a fucking legend. Nas put in work. Nas's lyrics and what he stood for, whether it was from the streets or diving into the music that his father was a part of jazz, black culture, to doing stuff with the Marleys, to just basically looking at what he went through and trying to get our people together. And y'all want to ruin that? Look, no disrespect to Jim, but Jim's not even fucking close. The shit Jim says doesn't even make sense compared to what Nas has done for our culture. Hip hop, don't you stupid motherfuckers know, you dumb, idiotic, want to be entertained. Look, first of all, right? Hold up, man. Don't you understand that the natural balance of thing is that, let me calm down for a second. You have people with talent. You have people in our culture who have special abilities to entertain the rest. Not everybody is built to entertain. It's a very few who are dope in our culture, and we have to celebrate them. So now we get a device where anybody.
That's the part I wanted to get to. That's the point. And that's the point I was making on my last show. Some people are just special when it comes to music, when it comes to movies, when it comes to basketball, when it comes to inventions. Some people are just special. And Black Americans, we have a disproportionate amount of special people. And they use the internet and they use these rankings. And in some ways, Benzino has to get a little bit of fault for this because it was his Source magazine, 2 mics versus 5 mics. And it was his Source magazine, top 5 articles that they were printing out and putting out that brought in a lot of this division that's in hip hop. But he sounds as if he's a man that, is seeing what it is for now. And that's what it is. You literally got Jim Jones out here being a full-on YN. Let me see if I pull up some of the things El Capo, whatever he said. Let's see if we can find some things. Here it is. Let me see.
Narrative you want to paint, you still got to listen to me talking to you right now in 2025.
Here it is.
Good, son.
Whatever you...
TV. That's right. Forgotten King.
This
TV.
Forgotten Kings TV is
2025. What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
This dude, Jim Jones, is talking about Nas has never been on the internet. Oh my God. Who's a bigger YN, Jim Jones or Fat Joe? Talking about a legendary artist that still sells tens of thousands of seats every time he does a live, every time he does a show. Man, this man, it's almost time to throw the whole 90s away. Like, goddamn, the 90s, especially late 90s into the 2000s. Oh my God. If they brought in fuck nigga music, and them niggas is now with great chinny chin chin hair, still sounding as mature as they sounded in 97. It's getting weird out here now. It's getting real weird out here, y'all. It's getting real weird. You got this grown ass YN Jim Jones and this and doing this crazy shit, and this grown ass YN Fat Joe. The lawyer sues, now he's in jail. I don't know, people. I don't know the answers. I don't know what's going on. I just know this shit look creepy and it looks weird. And I really don't like the fact that I never have, going back to when Ballin' dropped, going back to when the Diplomats came out. I've never been a fan of rappers who named themselves after Italian crime bosses. I've never been a person that's been a fan of rappers that named themselves after goddamn occultists. And Jim Jones was do y'all know that Jim Jones, the white occultist, the real one that he named himself after, took all those black folks and those people down there to South America and killed them all? Do y'all know that Jim Jones was the first white person to adopt a black child in the state of Indiana? History? Yeah, the real Jim Jones adopted a black child and then turned around and created one of the biggest, most mysterious murder scenes ever in occult history. And this dude, Jim Jones, the YN, wanted to name himself after that guy. That shit dropped right in the middle of my club days. Soon as that Ballin'. And you had people with ugly ass jump shot forms doing a jump shot. Niggas, remember that song came out, Ballin'? Nigga, you niggas are shooting like this. Ballin'. Like, if you don't get that ugly ass Bill Cartwright jumper out of here, nigga, if you gonna do that when that song came out, you gotta at least keep the elbow straight. Ballin'. It was a hot song. I ain't gonna lie. But it wasn't nothing on no goddamn Nas. Let's just keep it funky. Let's just keep it funky. You said, damn, you said your great aunt almost went with Jim Jones? That's crazy. Your great grandfather stopped her? That's what's up. Salute to great grandpa. Yeah, we met. So we gonna see how this plays out. We gonna see how this plays out. All right, this is short today. I'm gonna be back with y'all tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna come to y'all tonight because I got some shindigging to do tonight. So here at the house. So I don't think I think I'll be too low to here at the house tonight to come talk to y'all tonight on a late night live. But I'll be back with y'all tomorrow, man. I just wanted to point out that lawsuit. It's creepy. The Terrence TA, like Fat Joe, the gangster, files their first lawsuit. TA responds with a lawsuit. Now the lawyer is in some weird way involved in a minor scrape, bumping somebody, I guess, coming to serve him some paperwork. And now Fat Joe's lawyer is making it seem as if there was some kind of criminal assault or some shit like that. And so, you know, like I said, some YouTube channels are getting struck for bringing up things about Rock Nation clients and Rock Nation employees. And so I'm gonna need y'all to help me out sending this around because it's some weird shit going on right now. It's real creepy. It's real creepy. All right. Got my music course coming up. It's in the link is in the description. Next Sunday, not this coming Sunday. In 10 days, we start our music summer school. Sign up right now at dewanb.com on courses. All right. Thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. Let's keep it funky, y'all. We out.